Okay. Let's get the oh, pardon me. Oh God, let's hope everyone finds us. Oh, sorry about this, everyone. If you're watching this back tomorrow, I had it all set up nicely, and then I pressed the wrong button, as you do. So now everything's gone to pot. So let's get everything sorted out. The dog's snoring. Hello again, Nick. Thanks for finding us, mate. I don't know what I did there. I did it a while back, didn't I? Probably one of the settings was wrong. Oh, hopefully somebody else will find us. Otherwise, it's just little old us. Right, I can finally get going on some painting. As you saw from the original title, we're having a look at the durins folk warlord today. I've got the lieutenant ready as well. Yeah. Stupid settings. I'll probably click the wrong one. This is the code for this one. Durins folk warlord SDUR01. There's alert saying I've gone live or something. Who knows? Oh well. At least I can assure I'm sure which way to hold the brush. Although that may change. Okay. Let's start getting some paint on this bad boy. I do like this one. I think it went last week when we painted the half guard. So I've got some of the ordinary warriors to do as well as a lieutenant, so we've got like a full sort of starter army war band, if you like. Anyway, Nick, how have you been? And so I started to feel a little bit late, so I could take the dog out a little bit earlier, knacker him out, so we have his nice snory sounds all through the video. So I'm just gonna, I've done our usual undercoat, Zenithal black and grey Vallejo for the airbrush. Starting off with barbarian flesh, like we like to. You've got a few videos to make this week. Hopefully, if I have time. I was going to lay down a nice, seems it's the, all right, cool, down in the old smoke. Nice. So I'm going to lay down some alien purple. We're just going to water it down with our medium like you usually do, so we get a nice, start layering some nice stuff up. Ah. So yes, thought I'd better give him a purple cloak, seeing as he was the boss man, and just in case my friend Karen drops in. As you can see, I've thinned it right down. You can see how the undercoat's showing through. Plus, we're using the wet palette. Yeah, there's a lot on the cards this month, so I'm gonna be a busy pirate. Fortunately, I've still not got back into me eBay account, Nick. Well, kind of have, but it's still still blocking it just in case at the moment. They keep wanting to send reset codes to the original email that got hacked. I'm saying no, leave it blocked forever. So we'll see how that all works out. So I'll do a nice. Yeah, I'd probably be having to change the channel, the eBay name. But it's stacking up at the moment, the stuff I'm painting. So otherwise I swamp myself. So we're gonna lay a Banshee brown down. A snoring pup in the background. I just think it adds a nice soothing sound effect. Letting enough medium on there to keep it nice and smooth. Yeah. Oh, I can't turn the camera around like I did at Christmas. Blimey. There's miniatures everywhere. Yes, it's true. Yeah, he doesn't fart as much as Spike did, in fairness. Early days, he's still young though. I think it's got to come out from in one direction, isn't it? Little dogs. Yes. so we're going to take that up to like an off-white, so we get a nice base coat down. I think to make him look different from the others, we're going to do like a metal look. I think the other ones, let me get last week's ones, I think they're still kicking around on the side. Yes, we did it on those as well. So yeah, we did the same. We do the then we can have those over there looking on as their warlord. Oh, pardon me. Waiting for their warlord to come to life. Yeah, so we had the nice white in them as well. So they come out really nice under the nice bit of lacquer. So now we're going to do the gunmetal. See how the I think this brush is at it. I was trying to protect the point on the other one, but unfortunately, I think it's gone too far. Let's find, there's an army paint one. It's yeah, that's fine. So just put a little bit of medium in there. Just to it sit into those crevices a little bit, because we're not dry brushing, we're painting this silver. He really is snoring. He's been running around down the park with his mates, so beats last week when he had to be taken downstairs because he was smashing the place up with one of his rope toys. Lord love him. There we go. So just lay this. Lay it down. Evening, Rich. Sorry to change feeds. I didn't throw you out. First one went a bit kibosh. I'd done a setting wrong and we were all sideways and upside down, etc. Nick could tell you he was there. Probably made him seasick. So the only thing to do was to restart the feed. Although I did have an afternoon building Romans this afternoon. Yeah, finished the last job. I thought I'd make a start like. Yeah, we've got the snoring dog as ever. So yeah. Rich, ahoy, Titan Speaker Man. Ah, welcome aboard. Romans. Ah, there we go, Rich. Rich fulfilled the questions. Yes. So we just laid down some of these base colours. Which is obviously not impressing the dog because he's now snoring. I'll have to stick ping pong balls to him or something. Yeah, he's pretty zonked out, in fairness. If he gets too loud or annoys anyone too much, just let us know and I'll hoof him off downstairs. I'm sure my beloved wife important phone calls are over by now. These ragnarok dwarfs are cracking in there. They got these helms are great. Just trying to keep the paint as thin as I can and still cover so I don't lose any of the detail. There's something like those sort of miniatures you could paint real quick if you wanted to, cover base colours, a bit dry brushing. I think you can have quite a half decent looking miniature. Because the sculpt sort of allows it really. But we're gonna, where it's our saga warlord, we're gonna push on a little bit tonight. That's why I decided not to go for the lieutenant at the same time. So we can put all our run time onto this one. Okay. Now that's on and drying, we can nip some washes on. First wash I'm going to do tonight is a nice purple over that cloak. It's a big area, so I want it to start it drying. We're going to swap to our rubbish brush, because that's what you do when you're putting wash on, because it just zooms straight the bristles into your brush and knacker it up. There we go, that's the dog's comment on it. Yeah. Lay that down. So that's just that. That was alien purple, that one. Ahoy, Kev, how are we doing? Missed his feet. I've got lots of plate on them as well. There we go. Right, so that's the purple on there. Just wick some of that up. I don't want any big puddles of it. Especially where it's a bit cooler tonight, it's take a long time to dry. It's true, it's not stupid hot. Now we're going to have another moan now that everything takes longer to dry. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm just going to knock a little bit of gold on the edges. I'm going to paint over them in a minute, but we're going to start with all gold. Okay, we're going to put some Crusader Skin speed paint. Use it as our wash on the flesh, because that's what I like to do. Ah. Yeah, I was finding having to get the when I was in a rush yesterday to get stuff done, I was having to get the hairdryer out. I thought, blimey. Ah. I knew there'd be a follow-up one to that, Kev. Good work, my friend. I think we'll do the furry bit on here. I think we'll do that in brown. So we've been doing it in greys, haven't we? I don't think they got them. What I want to do is beard grey. So we're going to use our secret weapon, which is our Vallejo Air Burnt Umber. If those have not seen before, it's a really good colour. It works very well through the airbrush, but it does absolutely cracking things when you brush it on. Just because it's slightly transparent, the undercoat's going to help it. Yeah, Luke stuff, yeah, it's good. Very good. Okay. So on 20, half an hour in we are. All good stuff. So we're going to do a light tone over that light brown that we've done. Start getting our base ready for that going up to a white. So we're going to come back into that with some creamy whites in a minute. This is the new Durin folk miniatures from Gripping Beast. Their Saga Age of Magic. And this is the Warlord. These guys are painted last week. These are the half guard with heavy weapons. So it's very Middle Earthy. Yeah, the Mediterranean stuff is, like Rich says, that's the one I used for all the 100 Years War stuff I painted in that book for the Sword Point book. Used tons of the stuff, but it does look very, very good. Okay, let's just grab a Vallejo Flat Earth. Usually on the lesser figures I'll probably just use the burnt umber for the leather, but it's the Warlord. We're just trying to hoop it up as much as we can. So his belt. We'll do the scabbard that colour as well. He certainly is a snorer, this pup, isn't he? There's a little dagger hidden up in there. I'll just hit the edge of the pouch. Nice. Then we're gonna get some. Let's get all the tones on board. Some dark tone. That's where we get all these base colours down first. So usually I would water that down a bit, but I'm quite happy for it to be a little bit darker than normal, so we can put some extra shiny silver bits on it, make it look a bit mithrily. Oh no, it's some good stuff. And I mean, if you haven't got bucket loads of room for all sorts of different stuff to mix up yourself, it's good to get consistent batch, if you know what I mean. Especially if you're adding troops to existing ones that have already got the same, you know. It's good. A lot of if I'm not basing like this one, I'll use filter coffee for mud, and then kind of just put a bit of flock on it to put a bit of grass on board. I think that works quite well. A bit old school. Flesh wash, but when I was getting through a lot of miniatures, it does get a bit expensive, but if you're just doing a few and you want them to look nice, something like that geek gaming stuff is the way to go. So now we're going to drop some flesh wash over our gold. Yes. I didn't use his glue, in fairness. I just used ordinary watered down PVA. I stick it in those takeaway tubs, the plastic ones. Just stick it in there. I just use stick or ordinary glue on it. Let it sit in there and let it dry in the tub, and then before you sort of bang it off. The sealant, well, because I was lacquering them anyway, I just put a little bit of lacquer over them through the airbrush. Yeah, we're putting quite a bit of this flesh, as you could probably tell, as is my want. I like this gold to look a bit antique-y, bit of patina to it. So I let it build up. We shall put a little bit of white on that beard. Use that as an undercoat for the that nice grey speed paint we use for the hair. Okay. There, whilst that's drying, let's get the oak brown. Get this base on board. I'm going to drop it into our burnt umber just to use that up. Grab my old knackered regiment brushlet. Bit of medium in there. That wash might as well go in there as well because it's flesh wash, it's a bit brown. I like it quite thin, quite watery going on. That leaves the when it dries, it leaves the stones poking through for our ready for our highlight. Don't you agree? 38 minutes in. It looks like we're getting pretty funky. May have to hit this with a hairdryer in a sec. Basic Kings of War 2. You shouldn't have a warping problem, really. I generally cut card for it, and I've not really had too much of a problem. So it's a decent thick card, you know what I mean? But yeah, two of whatever, whichever size. I mean, if you're going to do like Legion, you might want to go a bit thicker. You're going to put a bit more stuff on there. But I'd have thought with the with PVA glue, it's not gonna soak into MDF too much anyway. Not that it's gonna warp it. It would not have thought. Yes, that's a little bit wet still, the purpley bit. It's got a little bit of eyeball. Yeah, so painted quite quick, so we've kind of painted ourselves into a corner there. I'm just going to zap it with the hairdryer for a sec. So I'll hold it over here out the way so we don't, what with snoring dogs and hairdryers, what's going on? So I'm just letting I'll put it onto the lower settings. You've got to be a bit careful when you, I hope you can still hear me, when your hair drying wash. Obviously you don't want to blow it out of any of the recesses. So you can avoid it if you can. But obviously it's a bit of an issue tonight. That's usually because I'm painting a few miniatures at a time. So that's a me bad. Sorry guys. Yeah, catch you later, Kev. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, if you have to use a hairdryer, just be careful with wash because you can just blow it out of the gaps. Okay, so let's have a little play. First of all, Brain Matter Beige. I'm going to pour that right down. Really stretch into it. Wash your brush out, then reload it. I'm going to just start making some highlights on this under tabard thingy shirt he's got on. His long vest. His winter vest. Just try and catch the very edges. Oh, that's a bit too much paint in it. I'm thinning out with the medium. Almost like it's like laying glazes on rather than paint. So that looks quite white at the moment. It's pretty transparent, so as it dries it's going to allow the darker colour underneath to show through. There we go. That's the light glaze, so that light glaze we're just going to, sorry, light tone, I'm just going to lay on top of that flat earth colour we just used for the leather. There we go. Good. Good. So now we're going to have a look at that purple. So next we started off with the alien purple. Next we're going to go to oozing purple. All these different purples and Kay is missing them. So what we're going to do is we grab a bit of medium. And we're going to grab, you can just about see the palette. So we're going to grab some of the original purple we used which is that alien one. And I'm just gonna make a mid-tone. There we go. Wash our brush back out. Load it with some medium. I'm just going to go down. Purple's one of those tricky colours that if I'd have just gone straight to the using purple, it would just look real harsh. It looks quite harsh there, but honestly, it's when it dries, it dries a bit darker. So if you're a bit worried, just pop a bit medium on it. Just water it out, water it in, blend it in with some medium. Make it even more subtle. You might have to do a couple of passes, but that's alright. A little bit thick there, so we get a bit medium in our brush and just move the paint around. So we're not washing that paint off, we're just, where we're thinning it a little bit with the medium, you're able to move it where you do want it. Oh yeah. So next, while that one's dry, we'll have a look at the gold. And we're going to get some bright gold. And we're just going to load our brush out and get most of it back out. And we're just going to highlight out. Kind of like an edge highlight, but we're not going to be over fussy if it touches down on the main bit, if you know what I mean. Because you want the odd bit to speak or sparkle. I'm just trying to pick out that detail. You could do it with a dry brush if you liked. I just think it's a bit more, pops a bit more with the kind of edge highlight or over brush, whatever you want to call it. All I'm doing is making sure there's not too much paint in my brush. Aiming it at the bits I want, and if it touches somewhere else, that's good because it gives you that random bit of shine. I'm actually letting it on that top bit because obviously that's the bit that's exposed to the sun, or got most of the sun, his dome head. There we go. Remember I use a matte lacquer anyway, so a little bit toned down a little bit. So on gold, let's get that on that. Now what we do is we just, all these bars down his armour, we're just gonna let the brush kind of gently dance over him. Just pick the odd one. That dagger we want a bit more highlight on. Buckle on his pouch, obviously going to be gold because he's the warlord. The buckle on the top of his sword belt there is going to be gold. Dwarfs love a bit of gold. Do you see I'm painting down the centre of these? I don't want to lose all my patina. So especially if it's not all over, it'll make it look even shinier, you know. And just the top of his feet, I'm going for the edge of all that metal, so it's just the top bit, so it just shines. Okay, so what we do now, we're going to deal with the chain. So we're going to go for shining silver. So we're going to do a very similar thing. We're going to load up with shining silver. Then we're just going to think, where is the sunshine going to catch this chainmail? Because it's mithril, so it might be. We're implying it is. So we don't want it all over. So it's not quite a dry brush because I'm not drying the thing. I'm just making sure there's not, my brush isn't overloaded. I'm being as light as I can and just picking out the areas that I want. Then on the sword, I'm going to load the brush up, take a bit out, and we're going to do the edge highlight. And we're going to do a little bit on the tip, and a little hint of it halfway down the blade. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to our cloak. We're going to take some more medium, and now we're going to go for that lighter purple. I'm just going to water it out quite a bit. I'm going to just go down the highest highlights. Just water that down out a little bit. There we go. Remember, because it's got, this one will have more white or light grey, I suppose, in it. It's going to look real bright under the lights, and it's going to, as it goes on, it's going to look bright, but don't panic, it will calm down. course, those ones where it is quite high up, just leave the highlight quite strong. It always becomes an edge highlight then. That one. That one in there. But I don't want to go into the recess because obviously there's no real high in there. It's all nice and shadowy. There we go. And what we do is we go back and water it down again. And then I'm just going to go right at the centre of all these highlights. Maybe not all of it, you know what I mean? Don't go top to bottom. Just focus on where the sun's going to catch. There we go. So next we are going to get some red, some pure red. And I thought it'd be, let's try it on this a little bit. So I'm just going to load up the point of a brush. I thought it might look cool if we just edged in all of his armour. And then it's just quite a bit of paint on my brush, but just let it just pick out the raised areas. If it's a bit bobbly, the brush got a little bit too much on it, just take it a little bit off. But you're going to want a good amount on your brush, so you can, it'll just glide off your brush then. There we go. Let's water it down a little bit. You're not going to want your paint. It's about consistency when you're doing this sort of thing. You don't want it too thin because it's going to run into that. It's going to run into those nice grooves all that gold's making. You want it just to be damp enough just to run off your brush. But it's all about touch. Be really light. Nice and light, it's going to stay where we want it. If you press down too hard, it's going to go into those other places we don't want it. I think he's dreaming. I can hear him snoring still, but I can hear his feet. I can hear his feet going. Okay, you can see the difference from top to bottom now. I did wonder if the helm would look cool like this, but I think it's going to look cooler just in pure gold. I'm still on camera. Yeah. Trouble is when you're doing something like that, you got to focus right on it, and you think, am I holding the miniature off camera? There we go. What is he doing? Oh, he's spinning around to get comfy. Why wouldn't you? Right, I'm going to use Cloudburst Blue, I think. It might have been Runic Grey. We'll find out in a sec. Yeah, I think we used the Runic one last time. This one's alright. No, it's not. Let's get rid of that. Any washes or speed paints if you're quick. These are speed paint ones. They're you got a bit more time to get a shot of them. Yeah, it was the Runic Grey. We give that a few minutes to dry off though first. So we go back to white, I think, and we're gonna use. Oh, we've got some pure white on the palette already. We're gonna water it down a bit though. I'm just gonna hit the highlights. I think we just want to hit the edges. You see the difference in that sleeve. It's going to glow really badly in the light to that sleeve. There we go. So let's get our Runic Grey on. Yeah, that's the one. Runic Grey. Well, I think that blue would have worked here. So it's very grey blue. I think there's still some bit hiding on the edge of that helm. That's right, it's mixed in. A new tone, that's alright. Happy little mistake. So yeah, you can see it's pretty much done really. We could do a little bit of let's get that beige brown. I know the was it Beast Brown? Can't remember. Banshee Brown. Just a little bit of dry brush over that. Might as well kill this brush completely. Yeah, dry brushing is not friendly to your brushes. There we go. trick with dry brushing when you got your paint loading right. Again, nice and gentle. You can keep going over until you build up enough colour. So let's have a look. See what we're gonna do to make this fancy pants. A little fancy pants brush first. I think we'll put some little red. Bands around there. Yeah, we're flying for it. It's not bad, is it? This sort of miniature almost paints itself, you know what I mean? It's just, I suppose, what level you want to push it onto. Because it's your warlord, you want to pull out stops, you know what I mean? Okay, just widening those. A little bit. Dogs on it again. See, if that was a bit wider at the bottom, I'd put a line around that, but I don't want to wreck my nice white shading down there. So I'll just leave that at the top. So like you said, it's what did one got a little brush out. We can see if we can get those eyeballs in there. There are eyeballs in there. Go. So I've got another one of these psychos over here somewhere that I'm just starting to break in. So I do like, if I need any gold detailing or anything, I use the backup one, not my favourite one. So I'm just gonna like a gold sort of stitching down the middle of that red. Yep. That's an interesting concept. So you're like doing the pattern on top of the. Could do it in white and then glaze it. Let's see how that works. Let's have an experiment though. The thing with freehand is you got to make sure that the paint you're using can run, but it's not too runny. Sorry about not talking as much there. I was concentrating on the which way to do the pattern. You've got to take into account the rising and falling of the cloak as well. So again, keep your paint nice and wet. Don't overload your brush. It's got to be able to off that brush nicely. Okay. So now we can go back down and tidy it up before we thin it out. So we're just going to use what we've done as an outline. Strengthen any bits that you want to keep. I say the white's quite powerful because obviously the purple is dark, but we're also gonna sort that out. We give that a moment to dry. That's why I always have two cipher brushes, because that one's not quite got as good a point as this one. Because I've worn this one down, you see the size difference. This one's kind of worn into the point I like for the eyeballs, so it takes a while to do that. When you buy these, they're not always ideal, but if you keep going with them, they do start working. Let's show you the difference in them. So, I mean, that one itself has worn down quite a bit as well, but you can tell it's like half the size. Night, Nick. Thanks for joining us, mate. So yes, now I'm going to go back to that mid-tone. I'm just going to work along and tighten up those lines. And then where we've got breaking there to do like the knot work, we're just going to strengthen them up too. I think that's the con with when people see these miniatures with lots of freehand on them, is you don't often do freehand and that's done. I mean, I do on a lot of the stuff I show you guys for gaming, but if you're kind of trying to push them up, you've got to do stuff like this, go back. Just keep working out until you get those really nice straight lines. And of course, because I'm going back over as well, it's thinning them as well. There you go, so you can see that one, how that end's really tight, and that end's all loose. Look. And that's all you do, you just keep working it. Do you think, I've done enough on this one, now I'm going to move on to another one. I wouldn't suggest you do this on your rank and file miniatures, because obviously you're going to be there all day and all night. But certainly when you're doing your warlords, pays you to put that bit of extra Vroom. There we go. I was going to glaze that over and make it purple as well, but I might leave it white because it looks quite cool. What think you, Rick? Rich, sorry. To Rick there. I think he looks nice with the white round the bottom. I'll probably change my mind again in a minute. Do it. Right, so now we want to get some Banshee brown. Just very, it's not quite a dry brush. I'll take most of the paint back out, just on there. I'm just very lightly touching that. Paint the background, the edge of the base. Once we decide what we're going to do. Yarg. Exactly, Rich. Myself, I was going to put like a nice glaze over the top and take that to a purple, the actual thing. I was going to do it gold, but I don't think gold would, it doesn't always show up as well as you'd hope. You could kind of just go over that white in any colour you want, really. But I think it stands out nicely in that white. I don't know about you. And to be quite frank, he is finished. I mean, I could fight around with him more, but I think, to be honest, I would say he is done. Let's put a tuft. Let's get some tufts on him so we can see what he's going to look like. Our favourite games grass. Available from your favourite hobby stockist, Griffin Beast. My little tweezers. The cap of my tweezers is now on the floor. Let's grab a nice random tuft. Get all the loose ones off. Bit oversized. I've hidden his foot that side. scooch the that's better. Just scooched it across so it was you can see his foot. We're in all the trouble of making his foot nice and shiny, and I stuck a tuft on it. Oh, that was a bit of a fail, wasn't it? Yeah, that would do. Make him look interesting on the table. Oh, I've not done his shield yet. It's almost a shame to put a shield on him. In fact, I'm going to have a look in a minute and think, would you be better off without a shield? I just picked up the cap for the tweezers. Here's his shield. Oh no, I think he looked funky with a shield. So yeah, he's ready apart from his shield, which I think you've all seen me paint the shields before. It's exactly the same shield as these guys got. Just going to clean up the... Good tip for the super glue if you haven't heard it. Once you've put your glue on, you get a cloth and you can hear it, the air coming in and out. That means the top's clear. Give it a quick wipe, you're done. It stops it sticking up. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. Okay. Let's give this shield a little... We've got the paints out. So we can use the flat earth for the back. Yeah. That's cool. So we get a few more Romans made up in the morning. Yeah. Let that shield dry before I paint the next bit on it. So yeah, I think I could probably finish the shield off camera, in fairness. So yeah, I'll get a photography at this in the morning once he's lacquered. And there is our warlord. So hopefully, there's a few of our friends who I think didn't find the second link, I think, unfortunately. So my apologies if you missed this live and you're seeing it back tomorrow morning. Yeah, for some reason I messed up at the start and the camera had spun around to a funny angle. So I had to restart everything. Anyhow, that's going to waffle on. I'm going to leave that there and take a nice photograph for that in the morning and put it on Facebook and Twitter. If you've not followed me on Facebook or Twitter, you can find me. I think they're both called Pirate Rich Paints now. Yep, they are. But I think on Twitter or X, you can find it as Paints Pirate as well, I think. Yes, I'm sure you'd agree with that, Rich. Alright, I'm going to leave it there then, guys, whilst I wait for that shield to dry. Yeah, it's still drying. And I will see you next time. I was going to try and do some videos in the week if I have time, because Romans. But yeah, I've got a few irons in the fire, as it were, at the moment. So it's all interesting times here at pirate island. And thank you for joining me. And if you tried to join me and the link didn't work, I'm sorry. And yeah, and you, mate. And have a look at this bad boy on Facebook or Twitter. Cheers and Rich. Cheers then, guys. And remember, tomorrow, if you're watching this back and you haven't subscribed, liked, or comment, feel free. It helps us out. And we'll see you next time. Cheery boo.